Hello again, sports bettors. This is Jeff Makinen at DRF Sports. I'm here to cover the Saturday afternoon Pac-12 showdown between Oregon and USC. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in Southern California. A DRF Sports subscription provides you with coverage of all the latest matchups, and it includes all our key rating systems, including our game simulator and power line. You get this information, this handicapping information for all the games on the board. It's a large board this Saturday. And best of all, it's also optimized for mobile. So whether or not you are in front of your computer or out having a good time on the weekend, you can check out the content on the phone. So subscribe today at sports.drf.com. Oregon did open up this game as a 4.5-point favorite with a 58 over-under. The line is pretty much held steady throughout the week. Over-under, however, has shot up to 62.5. Starting with our rating systems, game simulator estimate number 1, USC projected to win outright in this case, 27-26, which represents 5.5 points of line value to USC here, and 9.5 on the under. So significant value there for USC in the under. Estimate number 2, a little bit higher scoring here, 32-29 Oregon. Still 1.5 points both on USC and the under as well. USC projected to be a pick with Oregon according to our power line. That is 4.5 points of line value to USC. Averaging the three together, you're going to get roughly Oregon by 1. So that would represent 3.5 points of line value to USC as well. Quickly into the team statistics, a couple things of note here. Oregon really has played well defensively, allowing just 15 points a game, 308 yards per game as well, 4.6 yards per play. They are a plus 11 turnover differential. USC is a minus 6 turnover differential, which is really one of the major factors separating these two teams so far this season. USC, however, has played a much tougher schedule, nearly 6.5 points tougher than Oregon for average power rating of opponents played. Looking at the standings in the Pac-12, this is a key game, especially for USC. They are tied with Utah at the top of the Pac-12 South standings with 4-1 records. Oregon has a rather comfortable lead, 2.5 games over Stanford and Oregon State in the North. So we are looking at a potential preview of the Pac-12 championship game here. A couple betting angles that stick out here. Mario Cristobal, the current coach of Oregon, 7-1 against the spread in road games after scoring 37 or more. Meanwhile, USC over the last 2 years is 7-2 against good offenses, teams that average over 425 yards per game. Looking at our line movement section, action pretty well split between favorite Oregon, 47%, 53% taking the dog here. USC, 63% of the action favors the over, which coincides with that 4.5 point line movement. Head-to-head, I believe, is important in handicapping conference games. You can say they don't play very often. They haven't played since 2016. One thing to pay close attention to here is these games have been very high scoring the last 5 meetings, going back from 2010 through 2016. As you can see, each one of those meetings, I think the lowest score here is 65 total points. So each one of these past USC Oregon meetings would have cleared the total of 62.5 where it currently sits today. Into the schedule, there is a rather interesting trend here. USC has been a much better team at home this year. They beat Fresno State and Stanford to start off the season, the Stanford game rather easily. They did pull an upset on Utah as a 3.5 point underdog, an outright upset 30-23, which is going to be very big when it comes to tiebreakers in their half of the Pac-12 standings. And they blew out Arizona 41-14, which is a relatively decent team as well. So USC has played well at home. So when you factor that in along with the rating edges here, my lean would be to USC catching the 4.5 points. I think they can hang in this game. Oregon probably the better team, but I think USC can hang here and possibly pull off an outright upset. They do need the win as a little more than Oregon does at this point. Thanks again for watching. This is Jeff Makinen at DRF Sports. Twitter handle @SportsDBExpert. Best of luck this Saturday afternoon.